Hey everybody, Dr. Laura Dabney here, talking about betrayal this month. This is a hot topic a while back, so I brought it back up. Last week, I talked about what the landscape in your relationship looks like before a betrayal. Now, these are things you can learn to avoid so you can reduce the risk of a betrayal in your relationship. This video, I want to talk about what to do if you're in the midst of a betrayal. There's been a betrayal in your relationship, what to focus on. All right. This isn't an easy topic for anybody. I'm not trying to minimize it by talking about it kind of briefly here, but here are some tips that might help you get through that. So for starters, you have to think about whether you need to say anything. So many people will say, I have to tell him or her because I feel so guilty. Think about this. To ease your guilt, you're going to throw a bomb on top of your partner. The destructive qualities of admitting to cheating is so huge that it's really not worth dealing with your guilt in that way, right? Cheating is already destructive, to then say it is very destructive. So reconsider that need, go talk to a therapist or coach on that. If you want to continue the relationship, talk to a coach about the guilt and why you did it and see if you can figure that out and work through the problems in the relationship in a healthier way, right? If you suspect your partner is cheating, okay, it's very important that you talk about it and address it, but the caveat here is don't get so hung up on whether or not they're actually cheating, all right? Just you having the feeling that he or she is cheating is enough to tell you something is wrong with your relationship, all right? And it needs attention. You can't make somebody tell you something. And there's really no point. The point is you feel this way. You can tell your partner you feel they're not being genuine, or however you want to put it, they feel like there's some betrayal going on. And would you please come to counseling with me to talk out what is giving that feeling and what you can do to fix it, what you can do to fix the relationship. If they won't go with you, what do I always say? Go alone. Go alone and talk to somebody about this, but don't get wrapped up in the whole, is she or isn't she? It's a waste of time. All right. Another important point here is to get help figuring out what's behind it. If you're cheating or the other person's cheating, look for the deeper cause. Again, a lot of you get really caught up in the superficial cause. Well, you were always with your friends, or you never did this, and you don't have sex with me. Okay, I'm not saying those are all problems, but that's the superficial problem. The bigger problem is you or your partner handled a problem in your relationship in this extremely destructive way, right? You or your partner has to figure out how to handle problems in your relationship in a constructive way. So that's the problem. It isn't the problem. It's how you dealt with the problem. That's the problem. All right. Lastly, take a good hard look about whether this betrayal, yours or his or hers, is a sign that this was not a workable relationship. A lot of people feel guilty about admitting that they see this is not a workable relationship, that the partner has red flags, for instance, of some sort, but they love the partner or like the partner and they can't say it. So they cheat. It's really not, again, a healthy way of dealing with this realization, but sometimes that's what happens. Again, that might be something you need to talk to a counselor or somebody about, or you need to break up with that person. So it may not be a workable situation. If you might be the person with red flags, if you suspect that you have a problem, that you, for instance, maybe a serial cheater, so you cheated, you talked it out, you worked out what the problem was, and you fixed the relationship, and then you cheat again, you may have a problem with closeness. This is kind of not understood in the lay population, that there are people who cannot do intimacy. Most of the time, I'm totally generalizing here, but most of the time that's because there's some people who equate intimacy with being taken over. So you can see how cheating would, quote unquote, solve that. If I'm in a committed relationship, I can't do whatever I want. So I'm going to break that by cheating. Okay, so you may have a problem that's not workable, or it's workable, but it's going to take a lot of work on your part individually to resolve that. Or your partner may have a problem that's not workable or would take forever. And you have to decide whether you really want to go through that. All right. So if you're in the midst of a betrayal, decide, do you need to talk about it? Do you need help figuring out the deeper cause? What is the deeper cause? Focusing on that, and try to look at really making a solid decision on whether this is maybe not a workable relationship. Okay. So good luck with all that. I'm going to come back next week and talk about what the post-betrayal landscape of a relationship looks like. Okay. I'll see you then.